I just put out the title Respect, and you know what? We haven't spoken to each other for a while. Would you like to start sharing something of your last experiences, because you go through a lot with the little boy at home, with all your reading and your
Okay.
learning? Would you like to share
Yeah.
something?
I can share something also in the light of, because we're trying to talk about respect and disrespect and, the whole thing with kids. So something in that light that I want to share was that when I was with Sui and
Who is your 3-year-old son?
yes, my 3-year-old son. So I was my 3-year-old son, and then he couldn't sleep that night. I told you that we came over, like we flew down, and so of course it's been a rough day. He hadn't slept. He woke up, and so of course he's quite irritable. I understand, like with the travel and everything. And then he threw something, I think a teddy bear. He was feeling angry. His tablet died because I put the tablet on to kind of keep him quiet, because there was like a lot of people in the house
Oh
and
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
was
yeah.
sleeping. This was 3 a.m. So I put the tablet on, and then tablet died, and my husband was with the charger. My husband was stuck back in Winnipeg. Um
Oops.
so yeah, so he was angry and he threw the teddy. And so I also immediately, because I'm also tired, so I didn't even remember. Usually when he's angry, I try to remind him to like take deep breaths and everything. And I didn't even remember. I just started lecturing. I just started saying, "Oh, you don't do that. Um, we don't throw things because we want to keep them safe." Like I started talking and lecturing, and then my son says, "No stories. I need a walk." Mommy, no stories. I need a walk. And then I was laughing because I also told him times when he feels angry, he could ask to go for a walk. And so I start laughing because I think about the fact that if he was from how I was raised, I could never tell my mom pretty much, keep quiet. I need to go for a walk. I mean, which is kind of what he indirectly said. And then I was just laughing hard. I just laughing. And then the next thing he started laughing. And then we just went for a walk like within the house. And then he was breathing during the walk. And then we talked about what happened. And I was just like, okay. So that was really nice that we had that settled. But I just found that moment really surprising, because I know also previous me might have found that disrespectful, right? In as much as I taught him that when you do feel angry and you feel like you need to breathe, you can ask for a walk. But in the moment, how he said it, even my friend was in the room and she laughed. The way he just said, "Mommy, no stories. I need a walk."
It's
That kind of
very
thing.
honest. Don't forget, it's breathe. You know what I was thinking about in Gozi, if I may
Mhm.
interject here. I have traveled a lot with my kids too. I have three, and one of them was super hyper. And sometimes after a night flying to South Africa or to Greece or Israel, whatever, he couldn't sleep. I was telling a lot of stories and
Mm,
just and capturing them. You capture them by stories if there's to
mm,
just to tell. That's
mhm.
one of the great things that we had in the past, the storytelling, with people around the
Yeah.
campfire or families near or some people do it in religious ways still. But the story, if you start to make like, there was something, did you see that there? If you make something like
Mhm.
this, wow.
Yeah.
Because the breathing, sometimes like, get away with your breathing. I don't want to breathe now. I'm just angry. And
Yes.
it's like, do it yourself. Well, what I like, what you said, what I would like to add here too, to it's always an interpretation to say it's disrespectful or respectful, because we interpret in a certain way, we measure it like that. It does never mean it's meant like that. And then still, if you say it's disrespectful, it's like, because there's no connection. Oh, it is disrespectful, but I have all those feelings. So what I was doing or am doing with kids is, you say the example sentence, the way you would like it to hear. You can say it. Can you say it like this? Can you say it like that? That is a moment of teaching. If they're so angry, they don't take much in. But I'm not sure if you do storytelling out of your head, but that has been working
Nice.
magic. It's tiring though. And then we came to America in Florida, and we were just 1 week here in our new home, and then the hurricane came, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So we went to the guest room. That was the safest room in the house probably, and we put all mattresses on the floor. And yes, we were without power for 10 days.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was reading books with candlelight, and we were telling stories because I had to keep 3 kids in the house because it was dangerous. and 7, 9, and 12. How do you keep them busy? So we did all kind of mind games with this storytelling in general. Is yeah. So when we were traveling a lot, I did not have the tablets or sometimes the Game Boys. I speak of this a few years back, right? But they had the headphones with stories, whole books, whole stuff, and then we as parents had 2 hours.
Yes, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
he actually does like stories. So when we reflect, we do have stories because we have so many of them. So we have like the castle story, or even apart from him having like maybe being angry and doing something wrong, even situations where he's scared. So we had the ice cream story because we went for ice creams and there was like a loud car that went by.
Oh yeah.
And ever since then, he's always scared. He was getting scared of the car noises. But every time we tell this as a story, oh, the car was too loud and Sui was feeling scared. Yeah, mommy was feeling scared too, but the car was loud and we are safe. You know, that kind of thing. So we're saying it in a story from, so one day mommy and daddy went to get ice cream. And when we went to get ice cream, the car went vroom. It went so fast, you know, like that. So we do storytelling. So
Right.
yeah, but that's something I probably should be using more often during my lectures.
It's like really start. There was you start you start to make up a fairy tale, or what I did. This is like a psychological good thing. If you want to change certain behavior, then you could make a story about a special kid that you hope to identify with that kid, and then you let that kid do certain things and then have a certain question. It's really using a lot of your own fantasy. So you make it all up, and it becomes like a yeah, that's a Dutch word. That's but kind of an educational story without that they realize you use it like that. You know, metaphors, since we speak about this, metaphoric stories are very helpful for even for anxiety and for allergies. So if a child hears every day that he is or she is allergic for this or that, well, it goes to the subconscious, they believe it, they keep the allergies, right? So in Europe, we do actually, at least in the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium, as I know of, we do much more metaphorical stories to get kids off the allergies. Because if you start to believe that it is not really really true, and if it's like okay, and then you have the remarks how you handle it, like, you know, fearless, and you know, and a little bit, and that sounds maybe very strange if you hear this for the first time, but the effects are tremendous. And when I came to the US, like I said before, I tried to do that in my practice, but you know, it's hard to convince so many parents about something that is new to them. So at a certain point, I gave up. It's like too much, you know. But it is very powerful in Europe. So I hear barely any kids say there, I have allergies. Because if you have them, you keep them. That's the first wrong statement. Everybody that knows about the subconsciousness and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or any other way of, don't imprint the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know? Because my question is, do you want to keep them? No, I don't want. Okay, then you say, okay, I have some signs of allergies, but they're leaving me. You always want to get it out. Out.
Your thoughts. Yeah.
And so that's one thing on the side. It's a bit diverged from the story.
Yeah.
But that helps. Metaphors and stories help. And if you catch them with something that they recognize themselves in, they identify with that figure, you can use it for a kind of education without they know.
Yeah, okay, that's something I will try. I'll create a character.
So nice. It's so nice. You give the kid, for instance, if you speak about a little boy that is 4 years old and his name is Jimmy, just say something, and then Jimmy, you know, and he can be angry. No, you're not saying that right away, but you can make a story around it and use the things. Oh, okay. So then they hear how another kid solve problems or things. That's very helpful.
Yeah,
nice,
okay.
But you know what? This is also the problem, because for a lot of parents, specifically parents that both work outside of the house or inside of the house of the business, because I see stay-at-home mom is also work, right? You don't get a salary, but it is tremendous important work, to my opinion. There's no time for this kind of thing because life is so busy. We're always on the way to play date and this and that and the scheduled yada yada yada. But there's the simplicity from that talk, you know, that storytelling, or but you can do with a few kids. Even if he has 2 or 3 friends over, that you start a story and they go to make the story and they continue the story, And that is a very nice play. You can do that for 20 minutes and they come up with all
Right.
fantasies. And they're funny and everybody's
Yes.
laughing. So
That's a nice
nice.
one.
The fantasy, to use your fantasy is so important for developing creativity that you can use in your entire life. You know, there's
Yeah.
a difference in kids that play a lot outdoors in nature and build things in the huts in the woods, whatever they do. There's a big difference in how they deal with life than kids that are always inside with their PlayStation or their stuff in the electronics
Right.
and barely with other kids interacting. It's
Right.
very sad, but it is huge. Makes just a lot of sense. But
Right.
you're not one of those parents, but still you
Yeah,
can
no.
mention it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So the respect that you said, why is for many parents the issue of respect so important? Do you know why?
For me, I feel it has more to do with how we want people to to what's the word, to see our kids, perceive our kids as being respectful. So we need our kids to look respectful immediately. Like we expect them to know what respect looks like. I mean, from the point of, I mean, here I know that there are certain things that I might understand culturally to be respect, and some other people might understand culturally to be respect. And I know how it's impossible. I'm expecting my child just to know everything as soon as they're born. But I think before realizing this, there was a phase where we just expected our kids to just know this is disrespectful. And, and we now also think they are choosing to be disrespectful. But now also actually we now put it in our mind that, okay, they're choosing to disrespect us or they're choosing to disrespect that person. And even if there's a small part of us telling us that they're not choosing it, we want to show the other person that we do not tolerate disrespect. So I think that's one part where people are very, very aggressive towards it. And also because we were never taught how to correct disrespect or how to assert like being respectful and letting the other person know that we don't tolerate disrespect. So for example, we're either passive, we're either taught that where someone is just saying who labeled it disrespectful. So for example, somebody does something to me and I feel a kind of way, maybe because the way I'm brought up, I'm just taught, especially if the person is older than me or the person has power, what I have now associated with respect, and which is what they've kind of all made us feel like what respect is fear and silence. So you're a respectful person if you're silent and if you're fearful of the person in front of you. So if someone in power is like being disrespectful to me or saying something towards me, I feel I'm a respectful child or a respectful African child if I'm quiet and if I'm not speaking back, right? So, but I was never taught that it's never okay for anyone to disrespect you. They can be upset, they can be angry, they can be sad, but you have to let them know. Like giving an example, like I had a friend of mine that was, someone spoke to her disrespectfully and she told the person, like, I get it, but you can't talk to me that way. The other person actually did get offended, and my friend was wondering, oh, was that a problem that I told her you can't talk to me that way? And I feel like that comes from us not realizing that it's not okay to be spoken to in that kind of way, and also not even being sure how we can tell them without being disrespectful that what you said to me was not okay. And so two things, we end up being, like I said, either quiet, or when we have someone younger than us, the way we saw our parents react or anyone in power react to disrespect, which is like shouting or hitting, when we see someone younger and with less power, we feel the right way to react to them is with disrespect, as opposed actually just stating, it might have not been your intention, but what you did came across to me as this. I would appreciate, tell them what you expect, communicate. But I feel a lot of it has to do with how we were brought up, in that no one was really taught how to be assertive. That is, to be respectful and be respected. So I feel that's really where
Yeah. So, beautiful, beautiful. So how I look at respect is that it only has value if it is intrinsically felt. So then I would call, if it's not like that, then I would call it politeness. And the politeness means you behave in a certain way how society likes, and then nobody's having their own kind of opinions about. But the real respect is what you feel in your heart, in a way. It's something that is, Well, you have the namaste, huh? Is I respect, I honor the light in you, or whatever words you want to use. And that is without any age. That is for children, for babies, for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think, so that's one thing. That's the way I live. That's the way I advocate. The other thing is that a lot of people are very sensitive for not being respected because they have been violated so often. A child that is hit for no reason, as we have spoken about the other times, a child that is hit for any reason, that is wrong, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have your needs because you were yelled at, which is disrespectful. Mm-hmm. So how can you as a parent teach respect to your child? Actually, in one way, to be respect for yourself, to your partner, to other people, not to yell in your car and curse at other people and then expect that your kid will behave. No, this is all taught, but it is also the intrinsic thing. It is also like, hey, don't tear something in nature. Don't tear the leaves off because you like it, because that's the plant. Why would we ruin the plant? It's a very simple thing. But if you, through nature, through being in nature, you can teach cleaning up. We don't dump plastic in the water because the fishes get it in and they get it in their belly, and it's horrific. Right. So you can, that's all respect for the environment, for people, for nature. So I think a lot of people live with a double standard. And why is that more a problem is the following. Because if you have been disrespected yourself as a child many times, which I have been and you have been, then if your child that you love so much and want to be so like the perfect person in a certain way, right? Not really, but that you want to make the best out of that. If that child is then also treating you like crap, whoa, then all the old pain comes up and the old frustration that you were never allowed to vent, right? Now, coming back to your story with Sui, that he got, what he was angry, and then, you had the breathing helps to calm, great. And do you put his hand on his belly, that he pushes out his belly, that it is really low and not high, like that?
For breathing, sometimes I put like a tissue paper and I say like, it needs to move, okay? Okay,
so
okay, it's not hard enough. It's not hard enough. In.
So, because it is a great technique to calm down.
Okay.
But there was a reason why he got angry. And then when he's calmed down, your kid in general, you always want to go to the reason, what happened, and what can we do about that. Now, a lot of parents think that if they punish the child, they will be more respectful. No, they will behave to avoid punishment. And they will maybe shut up and not say it. And that's why a lot of kids lie to begin with, right? So if a child is, for instance, if my kids, now they're not adults, but if they would yell at me, and I don't like that, of course, I would say, hey, if you calm down, I would like to listen to you. But if you talk to me like this, that is a kid, a teenager, whatever. If you talk like this, it's hard for me to listen to you. I want to hear you. I really want to hear everything, but not like this. So you need first, that's what you do with a teenager, older kid. But a little one is like, hey, you can explain, because you teach them compassion. I would love to listen to you. I want to hear what's bothering you. But if you yell like this, it's hard to listen to you. And that's still a lot to say, because they don't learn that right away at all, because the environment is differently. You had that amazing story with the piano teacher that your son, because you saw in your environment still. But I noticed the change in my kids by going to the schools and other people's homes, and they hear the yelling and the other thing, and they start to use phrases that I never ever used, and the way of looking at people. The environment is much more powerful at a certain point in life. So that's a bit disappointing, but it is an ongoing thing, because we are a bit lonely in this. You are, I am, and you're a great example with your videos. I always send people to your place. Yeah, but coming back to how parents and teachers deal with respect, it always comes down, if they have healed that in themselves and acknowledged it in themselves, that they need a lot of respect. That's how their responses will be made. There is this, I think, psychotherapist, Alice Miller. I think she died already. She wrote a book in 1992, and I think I mentioned that before to you. It's one of the great books, and it's called The Drama of the Gifted Child. And it's not the gifted child for like the highly intelligent guy. It's every child is gifted in their own way. And the drama issue describes exactly this, that we put so much crap on our kids, and then they are adults. Some go in therapy, some become a teacher, because then they have the power. You use the word power. They have the power, and they can tell others what to do, and they can really, it's almost like an invisible revenge. Now I can be nasty. And you can see that with certain teachers. We all have the experiences of teachers like that, unfortunately. Because I think teaching is a great job and
Yep.
a highly respected job.
I think like even how to what you're saying, even to a smaller extent, it was very common, like where we had high school as 6 classes. So we had junior school 1, 2, 3, senior school 1, 2, 3. It was common practice for the senior school students to bully the junior school students, and the junior school students to be like, I can't wait to get to senior school to have a revenge. Yes, and yes, that is exactly the flow that usually happens. And even there was a time, especially in our sets, they kind of made it a rule: you can't bully. And for us, even I mean, now as an adult, I see how stupid it was. But for us, we felt like that's so unfair. How did they get to bully us, and now we don't get to bully them? Yes. So so that's what you're saying, of the thing of wanting to met out revenge, whether consciously or subconsciously, and you're not really focusing on how can I teach this other person to be better. You're really thinking of, well, I had it this way, and well, I'm okay, in quote, I'm okay, so you can have it this way as well. But we're not really thinking, how can I make this experience better, to make you a better person, to make you a person that doesn't seek revenge, but to also make you learn that this is not how you speak. This is how you speak instead, you know? So yeah.
That really, that, for example, or sometimes say the sentence, if you say it like this, it's easier to listen to you. And that is usually NVC, right? It's like, or with empathy, or like, I hear you say this. Do you mean that? Or you really say that's really very difficult to go through. And if you feel understood, one of the big, I work a lot with couples, right? But one of the big issues in relationships is not being heard and having a hard time expressing yourself and feeling safe and okay in a conflict. Not to be dramatic here now, but to speak your truth is still difficult for many people because of those experiences. And that is in the brain, if you as a child, that's also a very interesting thing with neuroscience. If you as a young child witnessed a parental fight, and your father was maybe screaming at your mother or throwing things, or your mother at your father throwing things, a lot of fear and anger together. The child has a lot of, no, the child has fear. The parents are only angry. So then in the brain, the neurons go together, they entangle the fear neurons and the anger neurons intertwine. So this same person, when they're bigger, if they're angry, they have right away fear too. So that's with some people, they freeze. They get angry, they freeze. They don't know what to do. They block entirely. So they have observed something, but that could not only be parents that fight or bigger siblings. It could also be the violent games. If you watch violent games, it gives you just enough. Or you see the horrible things on television or movies or games. And that's why I don't understand that there's such a high production of violent games and videos. What are you doing? You ruin those beautiful children's minds and hearts, because it has an effect. I don't know about you, but I cannot watch violence in a movie. I don't like it. It makes me very nervous.
I'm more about thrillers. I like movies I can't predict the ending. I really
yeah, that's nice. That's always nice.
Yeah. So, but yes. And even I want to ask a question. So you were saying something about couples fighting and the child watching. How would you address a situation where a couple fought, the child watched the scenario? How should the parents handle this consciously to help the child make sense of what happened?
First of all, parents do not need to share everything with their kids, because your marriage was first, or the relationship in whatever form, and then the child comes later. So you have also to honor what you have between. So if you are able to have the conversation outside of the reach of the child or children, is, I would say, always better, because it's also a private matter. You don't want that the 3 or 5 or 8 years old hear all your personal issues.
Of course.
So that's one thing. I say, okay, let's talk about that at another moment in another room. If it happens that you're in a car and you get some irritation or things happen, for instance, that you cannot easily wait, I would say always try to do that, because it's always better when people calm down. And also, yeah, for instance, suppose the father is driving. Let me make a stereotype there. Sorry, fathers. If the father is driving, or the mother, it doesn't matter. And they are cursing about how other people behave in traffic, right? And then the partner next to them, whatever partner that is criticizing that, like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Why do you have to, you know? If you start like that, then the person that is cursing knows already that they are wrong. Then they get an addition on their plate, so they get more irritated. You don't help any situation with that. I think the things you want to happen, and to say please behave respectful, is hard if you don't know exactly how that is respectful. Is that closing your mouth shut? Because you stay your mouth, you keep your mouth shut, as you said, because you don't know what to say. What is respectful talking? So you need examples. So, or you say that, like, okay, you give the right example for how it is respectful, asking what you need or would like to get. Doesn't mean you get always what you want, but if you ask for it, you're much more likely to get that honored than when you demand it or you do it with criticism. And it is very hard, because I have experienced that too, that I was with someone and I was getting really upset from all the negative things that came out of their mouth all the time. So I can have a lot of sympathy, no, not sympathy, empathy or compassion for their frustration. But you know, that energy that comes from all those words and all that fighting is very contagious, and it gets me. And it's like, that's why we don't like to be the people that do that. People that are very negative or yelling and screaming or nasty, it's very hard to develop compassion for them. But they actually need to learn to get it out of their system, to deal with it differently, because they need also love and kindness, but they won't get so much because they behave the way they behave. And that's with kids too. Now, they have another problem, that there are some kids in more complicated families that they don't get a lot of personal love and attention, only negatively. So they ask only negatively attention in order to get attention. It's very sad. I know when I get a phone call from somebody, from a guy that begs me if I will spank him, because that's his way for getting affection, because that's how he was raised. So I said, I can help you get over that syndrome, but I will never go to do this. I'm so sorry, I cannot do it. Right? But you know, it's sad. If you see behind the curtains what happens to many people, it's really sad. Yeah, but it's good we talk about this, because it makes you aware. Everybody can learn. You learn, I learn, we all, you know, and it is it is really life enriching if you go there.
I feel like even sometimes, like how you were mentioning attention, sometimes it's played down so badly, like where understanding that attention is just like food. Like when you say my child is hungry and I get them a glass of milk, my child needs attention. For some reason, we just say, oh, he just needs attention. Like it's something insignificant, or it's something.
Yeah, that's not nice.
Yeah, it's something like, oh, he's just looking for something he shouldn't have, which is that no, they do need attention. The way you give them water if they're thirsty, you give them food if they're hungry, you give them attention when they're seeking attention. As irritating as that might feel in that moment, this is you actually realizing that this is a need that needs to be met. So, but I know it was the whole thing. It's where even like maybe if the baby is even crying, oh, the baby just is looking for attention. Okay, meet the give them the attention. But I know I was talking. I mean, also this group where we were now relating this even to. I was relating this even to like my husband, where he's sick and of course exaggerated. And I'm just like, he's just looking for attention. And then to be honest, he's looking for attention. Why don't I give it to him? It's still a need. As much as I feel irritated that he's looking for it, but it's still a need that he's looking for, in as much as I'm feeling like it's an exaggerated sickness. It's still something like, or even when a child is fake crying for attention, it's still a need they're communicating to you they need to meet. So where we focus on the fact that it's fake crying, but for what? For attention. You know, so sometimes we play down this need so much. And then when they never even learn the right way to look for it, like with Sui, not that he does it every time, but I have told him a few times, like when you need attention, say, Mommy, I need your attention. And a few times he does actually say this, Mommy, I need your attention. And I'll probably give him a timer that, okay, when the timer rings, tell me, then I will have your attention. So, but sometimes it's like if you don't tell them or show them how to positively, and he's 3, so even when sometimes he doesn't remember to ask, and I can see he's showing me an attention-seeking behavior, it's a reminder for me that yes, you haven't met this need today. So if you see him seeking it, you did not meet that need. I try not to get frustrated.
Yeah.
So, but like to that point is like not letting them continuously show the need negative side, like show them how to ask for it positively or positively meet that attention. You know,
You know
don't.
what? This is so fabulous what you say. Sorry, I need
Yes,
a
yes,
drag, but it
yes,
gets such a thing. May I share
yes, yes.
this?
Go, 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 go.
Because I heard you say, and I'm not sure if I heard it right, that he behaved in a way he didn't like, so you want to give him a time out, and he asked them at that moment for attention. The time out is a way of very much loving your children conditionally. You could also say what you do not like from what you see at that moment, and then you can still be together and talk about it. Because if you are like frustrated or you have issues and they send you away, that's how it starts. That in
Yeah.
intimate relationship we have so many issues to be really normal about what we really would like. Because today there's a lot of focusing about your needs. It doesn't mean that you have always to tell your needs and that it should be always honored or fulfilled because you say it. No, it's more about awareness, and then you can ask and some even negotiate. You
Yeah.
can say, okay, let's sit here, go to sit. If you give time out, please do it always in the room with a certain time
Yeah.
out
No,
chair.
no, it wasn't even time out. It's a timer. So I set a timer.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
in
I heard
30 minutes, when the timer rings in 30 minutes, then I will have your attention. So he
Oh,
goes with the
sorry,
phone. When the
totally missed
phone
that.
rings,
Woo. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, it's good that we spoke about this because a lot of people get the
yes, yes.
advice the time out. It's very conditional. You learn also. Oh, when I'm so frustrated
Yeah.
and my brain cannot calm me down, they don't know that, of course, but that's the thing. Their brain is not handling their emotions yet normally, so it gets like firework, and then they don't love me if I'm myself, because that's the thing. They don't. So the timeout is pretty
Yes.
damaging.
Yes.
But it is
Yeah.
where
And,
there's a
and,
lot.
and I
Yeah.
I even feel like when time in, I've seen the power of timing where there was a time, just like every time Sui gets upset, what he feels like doing is throwing something. So you visibly see him searching for something to throw. So there was a time he was doing that, and then I held him. I'm like, nah, I can't let you throw things. You can be angry. I love you. It's okay. And then he's not crying at that moment. His face was like really hard. And then he looked at me. I'm like, it's okay to be angry. I know this thing happened and I would be angry too. But I can't let you throw
Wow.
things and I can't let you hit. And then
Wow.
he
Very
broke
good.
down and he collapsed in my arms, like finally letting it out in tears. And I'm just like, so this is kind of like time in. And then he cried and he cried and I said, yeah, it's fine
Wonderful.
if you cry. So
Time in.
that's
I
kind
love
of,
it.
yeah. So in me, I just felt like, yeah, this is the power of actually letting them come to you and express that. So yes, so me, I'm definitely against time out because I have seen the effect of time in, where you give them a moment to let them, and he felt safe in that moment to break down with me, right?
Yeah.
And then he cried, he let it all out, and then we talked about it. So yes.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. It's
But it
just
can
not
get
easy.
frustrating when these things happen. Like it's for us as parents to kind of control how we feel triggered. Because there's a point today I'm just like, Sui, I'm really trying to keep myself calm, okay, baby? Like, because it's now because we moved. So I do understand what's going on. But for me, it's just like I'm also trying to calm myself continuously to get him. But the fact is that he's listening. And even at the point where today, 2 occasions right after he had consecutively almost wanted to throw something, he had his cup of water and he was feeling angry because I said no, and then he touched it and my sister was already saying no, but then he just touched it and then he stopped. And then of course another way I discipline is encouraging good behavior. And I said that was a lot of self-control. I saw that you were angry but you didn't push that cup. That shows a lot of
Wonderful.
self-control. So he did that about 2 or 3 times today, and I'm just like, yeah, mommy, let's just encourage him when he does that. So in as much as I know, it shows that this is the thing of progress and not perfection. As much as he's doing it, it shows that he's actually, and he's just 3, he's actively working to stop. But I can
It's so
hold the fact
small.
that,
It's still so
yes,
tiny.
but I as a parent, I do get triggered, but I'm trying to consciously be aware of the fact that he's making some progress, as much as it's not as quickly as I want it to be. Yeah.
You're definitely raising a sensitive man to be. you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
by God's
because
grace.
if that is instilled in you, if you are raised with compassion and understanding, I think that's the best gift we can give our children.
Yeah.
And all this worrying about the academical things in school and the results and the future and the worrying this, worry. I was thinking about it today. It's such a sad thing that so many people are worried. First, they're worried to get pregnant. Listen to this. First, they're worried to get pregnant. Then they're pregnant. They're worried to keep it. They keep it. Then they're worried for the delivery at the end. Then they're worried if the baby's healthy. Then they're worried they won't survive the first month. Then they're worried and then
It
get
never
ready.
stops.
So, better don't worry at all and
Yes.
enjoy and
Yes.
trust all is well. Because
Yes.
if you waste such a big time in your life worrying about things that eventually could happen, you never know the future. And if bad things happen, you have time enough to deal with it. And you have at least had a good time. It sounds maybe a bit silly, but it is so much in your head.
Yes.
And all these worries. Of course, you can have concerns, but that's logic,
Yeah.
that you can enjoy being pregnant, or you can live in fear the whole time, or you can enjoy the baby, or you're in fear that whatever. And a lot of people do that, more or less.
Yes.
I really see sometimes parents like panicking about nothing. It's like, oh my God, you deprive yourself from a lot of joy and happiness if you approach it that way.
Yes.
I know a mother, I think she's a lawyer, and she works hard, and she has a 1-year-old kid, a girl, and she became an advocate for child trafficking because her motivation was, I cannot imagine that it happens to my daughter. And that's why it's like, what a motivation. That's nice that she has the motivation, don't get me wrong. But why do you get the motivation? You think about your own daughter. That is your fear for your child, that the society is so terrible. I would say today is going, your baby is safe at home.
Yes.
It's just for the, you see how it often goes from a fear, a personal fear.
Yes.
And then, let me do something about it for my child in the future.
Yes.
And for other children, of course, too. But it is, it's interesting how we motivate everything.
Yes. And fear can be a huge motivator to even do the wrong thing. Where you're like, okay, even the fear of, I don't want my child to grow up to be an irresponsible person is enough reason for you not to be watchful for progress, but wanting perfection immediately. So like any small sign of imperfection is like, no, if I don't do something about it right now, you're going to grow up to be the most spoiled, disrespectful child. Like that fear of having, so it's like fear. It's from fear of something, your child not being what you expect or want, where you're completely forgetting that just teach them, and they would learn and watch for progress. So it's like about, like you're saying, take away the worry, take away the fear, and just trust in what you're doing. You trust in the things you can control.
Beautifully said. And what I thought about today too, because we had this call, I don't know, sometimes I get certain thoughts.
Yeah.
Come from a place of love.
Yeah.
In whatever you do. And if you realize you have this fear, your kid will grow up like that because of other people will say, but it's not important. Marshall Rosenberg, the founder and developer of nonviolent communication, would say, so you know what are the most 3 powerful sentences? So what? And whatever, and another one that I don't get now. And that sounds very harsh. But if you raise your kids only because the neighbors will like it, that doesn't mean much. Yes. That needs to be intrinsic. You want your child to be happy, and you give the tools as much as you can. You might have nasty neighbors that don't like anybody ever. So you cannot make your standards what other people say about your kid. And it's very funny, when I came to America, it was the same examples maybe. When I came to America, when my kids were 7, 9, and 12, and we met new neighbors in the street, and they said, after 1 minute, they said to me, oh, I like your kids. And I was like, and I would give a Dutch answer. And the Dutch answer was, but you don't know them. She just met them. Yes. She said that only to please me. And then I should say, according to American style, thank you, because I get a compliment about my kids. But it felt for me very weird. Because first of all, I didn't make my kids. Yeah, I raised them, but they are
Yes.
always themselves. They come with their
Yes.
own thing already. You can
Yes.
just sand a little and shave a little, because that
Mm-hmm.
is respectful,
Yes.
respecting your child how they are, right?
Yes.
You teach them the things that you want them to teach.
Yeah.
But to give me a compliment for their behavior, things that people think that you have, that you can much more mold them than you actually can. And I think molding a child so intensely is for me also disrespectful,
Mm-hmm.
because you really want to change them in something else. And
Yes.
unfortunately, that's the 80% therapy style in the United States, behavioral cognitive behavioral therapy. It's all about modifying the behavior, but you need to go
Right.
to the source, the core. Not only modify behavior that you fit in the box, but really learn to be yourself. Be yourself, and it's okay. And it doesn't mean you're violent. No, we don't. Violence is never accepted, but you
Yeah.
can manage with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I understand what
We
you mean.
speak about acceptance. We want to be
Yes.
inclusive. Well, that's how we do it, by
Yes.
not telling other people how to be, but
Yes.
to see the good in them, and to let our critical mind to shut that down, and to
Mm-hmm.
look at them with love and kindness. Whoa.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's a
like
lot
what
for
you're
the
saying is
Monday, isn't
like
it?
I actually saw a post today. I think she's somewhere, she's been commenting by Parenting United. I think she posted a while back where she said, and she gave an example with her daughter and everything, where like letting your child be who they are. Fine, you have like safety boundaries, like you're saying, no hitting and stuff in place, but like being conscious to not trying to make them a mini you, but who they
Yeah.
are. Like they've come in to be a person, where she said like at first her daughter put on an outfit that she personally did not like and told her daughter to change, and then of course it's a conscious thing where she remembered that, oh wait, like am I doing this because of how like I just don't like it, like is there anything really wrong with it, and told the daughter that, you know what, go back to wear what you really wanted to wear, where this isn't something that affects anything, this was just a personal preference of mine, but my daughter is also her own person. So there's just to what you're saying, like
Yeah.
not really stripping them,
Very, very
not
good.
your, yes, not your child growing up to figure out who am I anyway, right?
But
That, but then,
Ngozi, do you see this? This
mhm,
is disrespectful. If
mhm,
you want a child to change in the way that is like a mini you, that's an example. You're
mhm,
not having respect for the oneness, or the no the how do you say it, the uniqueness of the child. You
mhm,
are wanting to make it someone that is disrespectful, because you want to change somebody. If you want
mhm,
to change your husband, he won't like it, and he
mhm.
will feel also disrespected, because it's not, the message is you're not good the way you are. If you
Yeah,
would like certain behavior more, then you can ask for it, but that's with respect.
yeah. So
And if
that's
you start, if
it.
you analyze all this, and I'm so happy that many more people do that today, much
Mhm,
more people do it today, the last couple of years. I felt myself always very like calling in the desert,
mhm.
totally alone, because people are like, but it's coming much more. These are great examples,
Yes, yes. So
and
she
you never get the children you expect to get. Never. You get
yeah.
always different
Yes,
kind.
of course. And we accept them and love them unconditionally, like you're saying. So I was trying to explain that she actually did call her, like she immediately realized what she did and redirected and said, you know what, sorry about that, go put on what you want to wear. So I think also it's for
Yeah.
me, what the two things I learned, like you're saying, is like not disrespecting, but also being able to accept when you're wrong as a parent and not put your foot down, even though you've realized your mistake and you're like, you don't want to look like you changed your mind. It's okay to change your mind. I think like those were the two things I learned from the post. Like it's okay to change your mind when you realize, when you've taken
Yeah.
a moment to consciously reflect on what you're doing, realize
Absolutely.
that it wasn't the right thing, and then you
Yeah.
go back and let your child know, you know what I said before was actually not right. Go ahead and put on what you wanted to wear. Mommy was just in her feelings, or something.
Beautiful. And that is including the apology, because
Yeah.
you missed
Mm-hmm.
that. Sometimes I read things in Quora. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
know about that. And you
Mm-hmm.
see how people can respond to this kind of questions so harsh.
Mm-hmm.
But it all comes from the way they are raised themselves. But it
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, we want to change other people constantly, because that's what they did with us. They gave
Yeah.
us a feeling we needed to change. We are not good enough the way we are, which is
Mm-hmm.
one of the big break points. So if people complain about today is so terrible, I think, no, not at all. It's great. It has never been better in
Mm-hmm.
psychological sense, by what we know, what we can know, what we can do. I mean,
Yeah.
at least in our world, I would say there we have a lot of freedom of thinking and doing, and developing and growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that are great stories. I like that. Is it on
Yeah.
Instagram?
So is it that was by she's on Instagram. She's actually commenting right now. If you look at the comments,
Hello,
Parenting.United.
hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah. So it was her page. I was just because I've been on break. So today I was just going through people's pages and old posts and stuff. So I just saw it then. I'm just like, yeah, this is so like powerful. Not just are you pointing out the fact that we let our children be ourselves, but you're pointing out the fact that it's okay to take a moment and accept when you're wrong, and then do the right thing right after, even as a parent. So yes.
I have to tell a very funny anecdote in the same
Yeah.
way. My daughter was 2 years old, my firstborn, and we would go, we're in the Netherlands, and we'd go 6 weeks to California because my husband was there for a while, for a few months. And I went with her. I was very pregnant and 2 years old. I had these nice dresses and nice little sweet. Oh my God, I love to dress them, my kids, right? So we took all that stuff and all things. She was back there with me, became a Californian. She didn't want to wear a dress. She wanted to be a little shirt and a t-shirt like her dad.
Oh.
She only wants to wear those things. Nothing in her hair,
Yes.
curls, nothing. No, she imitated. She missed him terribly.
Yeah.
He was only 6 weeks or 2 months out of the picture, but she missed. She was really wearing only what he was wearing.
Wow.
And that was it. And my dresses were in the suitcase. He never came out. So funny. But you know what? And it was like, and I had just a few, only shirts. So, okay, if that's what you want. And then somebody could make a remark, why you dress her like a boy? I mean,
I know. Yeah, that's on you. I don't, that's.
But I was like, I remember how much that was. Like, no, like daddy, like daddy, like daddy.
Yeah, like daddy.
But I never had my son saying, no, I want to be dressed like mommy.
Yeah, I know.
No skirt for the boys. Some boys do like it, but
yes.
it's just a joke, but it's funny. But what I will say with this is, yeah, if you allow your child to be who they are and making those choices, and yes, there are certain things that you cannot do. Certain things you will be disrespectful if you do. Do certain things, right? You're not going to walk naked into a church. Things you don't do.
Of course not. Yeah.
Right? There's things like this you do, this you don't. But if you explain that with kindness, I really think we will not hear much about the terrible tooth tantrums and so, because you will have it much less. You know, if you do it. Frankly speaking, is hey, we needed to watch the time. You have another interview.
Yes.
You need to have keep some energy for blowing them away there, right?
Yes.
So it was awesome talking to you again.
Same
and
here.
I hope
Same
we can
here.
do so that maybe in 2 weeks, or maybe next week if you have time.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm free.
Because and we take another theme and we go about. There's so much to talk about. Okay,
that's fine. Yes.
Thank you so much, Rosie. I wish you great holidays. No, that's next week. So
yes, next week.
Oh no, that's this week, end of the week, right? Yeah.
Is it? Okay, yes, today's 20th. You're right.
Yeah, we were going to fly to Curacao, but we would meet my bonus daughter there too and her family. They live in Sweden, but my 2 boys have COVID, so we had to cancel everything. So I hope.
They have. I didn't get that. Oh.
Yeah, it's now there's that new virus that
probably everybody catches
it. They're doing great, meaning that they felt sick for a few days and they're recovering. Faster than the first COVID. My daughter had the first COVID. It was, she was vaccinated, but she felt very, she was sick for 2-3 days. But you're test positive, so you cannot fly. You won't take any risk there too, And we are very much in immune levels. We're very healthy with all that, but still it happens.
Right. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, so let's be wishing everybody good health.
Yes,
and a great holiday with the family. And come from a place of love that you can bear any family member.
Yes.
A lot of people don't look so happily forward to the family dinners because of all the dynamics that pop up.
Friction and tension.
And I have 2 processes on my website about that, how you can really enhance the relationship with your mother and with your father. There are a few with footprints and imaginary things. You saw the footprints a little bit, right? That I did. The very powerful therapeutical method to clear out so much and to connect in a different way. But anyway, I wish everybody a happy, healthy holidays, especially you with your family. Take care.
Right,
Thank you, Rosie. Bye-bye.
Bye.